buy him some time. The wraparound up towards heaven. And they still think that he's pretty close. The alarm bells should be ringing, and now, well, now they've got the information on exactly where he is. Got to deal with this guy, but a double swing should put him in the ground. It's a little early for Mindfreak, but he hits the shot.
This guy is popping off in this round again. I feel like there were players getting caught out by the Reckoning, like forced out of position. The G2 players knew exactly where they were, but they're just hitting their shots. Like Mindfreak does very well to have that aggressive push initially, a fallback that still catches the player mid. And again, I don't necessarily mind the adaptation from G2. It's like, okay, they take an aggressive B control. Let's try and quickly split through mid. But it seemed like even though that control had been given up, Paperex were very aware. And wow, Mindfreak just playing with absolute confidence. Don't expect anything else.
Well, yeah, at this stage especially. Something as well with the early picks. He's been up there. You can see the reality behind that operator buy, why they wanted to go for it so early on with the light shields. Good setup in the last towards B. Now an opportunity for him on the A side. Early aggression coming out. All pushing up, covered by Jing yet again. Always has that second man behind him, but the wall's going to concede the space. They fall back, set up for another pick. Good space taking.
The guns, it has to be a faster pace take. Yeah, Jonah P's the only one that actually has a rifle. They haven't spotted him. He's got way too far, but it's only going to be the one. And now the rest, well, an immediate res to bring another back from the fray.
Nice.
Now the shorty kill as well. Something farming them up. It's Icy left alone. Again, a 1v5 this time, and not one he'll find. But a little mistake from Paperex. Probably good they got it out of the way in this round, but Divide moves out of range of that alarm bot, and at just the right second, someone walking past it, and Jonah P's flanks have been definitely something that's going to get in the back of Paperex's head if it keeps up.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's unfortunate for the side of G2 is that's now 2 rounds that's happened. Again, maybe at some point you'll see it mentioned if there's a pause or something like that.
Yeah.
But they've not won either of the rounds.
Yeah.
Like, and that's going to be frustrating because you've had the right timing, you've had the moment to get the space, but the reactions of Paperex are so fast. You get one kill and it's instant, the response each time. 4-3. Lead taken by Paperex. Something, as said, if this guy's online, it's terrifying. And wow, Jing's going to push over the top of the poison orb.
It's a double push, yeah. They've got something as well, straight down the tube. We saw him sprinting right at the start of the round. They might be ready for the man up top, but will they wall off something? Yes, they will. Yeah. Sending it out. Ops blocked, rotations are in, and they're crossing that angle for free.
Also, Jing and something are like a package deal. So a lot of the time, if you've seen Jing, then you go, all right, there's probably an operator here. Let's be careful with it. The early rotation, though, from Paperex is great. 3 players on this side of the map. Again, they haven't spotted any sort of cross back, and with Thrash about to clear out some of the closer angles, but that's irretrievable now. Can't be utilized again.
Yeah, they've got to get the kills to take the space if that's going to be a factor in the late round, and by then you won't really need it. Mindfreak tucked up close, orb goes up, blocking off that avenue. They're going to go back to the yellow push, and Viper's Pit, yeah, there it is. It's activated. So it's online for both squads. Curious to see if Jonah P's going to decide to activate his with a lockdown in play to push them out of the pit.
Mindfreak stay.
Take the space. No, he's out of here. And I think the pit's going to drop because of it.
Yeah, I don't think there shouldn't be enough time for him to get back into that. So that's actually huge. Removing that from play. There's a lockdown on the other side. This is just what I like to call an observer's nightmare. Ultimates being used all over the shop. We're going to get the third person as now they do what was done to them. But I do believe just with the corner, you might be able to hold on to this ultimate. And I feel like G2 are going to try and do that.
They are, but you could see the pings from Paperex. They want to compete for that back angle. Haven't had any success. Jing, something forsaken, all falling. Icy's having a round, and now the pit's still standing. There's no chance, surely. Paperex likely to head for the hills. Maybe looking to stick around and make this a bit more costly and eventually delete their enemy of Icy. Pick up the operator and look to save it. Being challenged on the way, though, there's no free escape with Divide falling. The op will not be carried through to the next, and this has been a costly round for the side of Paperex with G2 equalizing.
Yeah, I like the way that that was played by G2. I feel like that was a game of chicken. Like, you had a couple of ultimates in play, either side using basically exactly the same thing, and just having their lockdown to remove the pit, putting it in a place where they had to fully retreat, but then being able to hold on to their own because of the space that hadn't quite been taken, and making sure that there was defense outside of the pit to make sure that nobody could really get that move. 4-4. Economy, although damaged, not broken, and there will still be an operator for something, and we've already seen that when he's in position, when he's able to be put into play, which I think he will be here, things are much, much tougher for the opponents.
Cihuyyyy.
Well, G2 are wasting no time in the A main control, sending Jonah P out to the B site. No surprise, he's on the lurk. The success, he's had a lot of success, but whenever he does, like you say, Tom, the main push is always the one that fails. Jonah P does well here, lighting Mind Freak down to 46, but fails to get the kill on the jump peak, and the rotation's on its way. They're focused on the B site. Well. Paper Rex seem to have an idea that this is where it's coming through. You see the shift from Devi. He's closer by now in kitchen to help out.
Jing trying to keep his teammates safe from information, but the Dizzy likely going to do that. The immediate swing. Mind Freak still gets one, and now trying to play over the top of the site. Leaf picks him out of the air. It's an angle that I feel like a lot of players would miss. But not Leaf. And now the retake's looking tough.
Bawah,
yeah, it absolutely is. The numbers against them, and there it is. Thrash was online, activated now. Valen tucked down below, manages to catch Devi something off guard. And there's no need for any further aggression from this G2 side. Forsaken's out of here to try to save, but they've already got him boxed in. Like you said, Tom, Leaf right up behind him. Whoop, the timing, he might actually have seen the barrel there. Yeah, now he's got a good idea, but okay. Well, that's one way to do it. The lead back in G2's hands, 5-4. Attack side really heating up.
Yeah, looking like a very competitive game at the moment. Now for, I think both of these squads, a lot of the time when they've had big success, it has been on that attacking side. So I don't think Paper Rex is going to be too worried about this just yet, especially having that additional duelist. I am starting to think, though, how many times we've already seen that Thrash available. Like, they've been farming that up on Icy. It's been used so many times throughout this, and the impact it has just being able to clear a lot of those close angles early on. It means that the pacing of G2's takes just goes through the roof. And it's one thing I would actually quite like to see a Paper Rex attempt to run in the future, because I think that the Gecko in particular on this map is so ridiculously strong, and you already have the likes of Something who has shown that he can use it to an incredibly high degree. I will say some of the angles he's taken he wouldn't be able to get to if he wasn't playing the Jet, but I don't know. I still think there might be more value in it for him.
Yeah, it's curious as well how quickly, and you saw in the replay, I didn't hear what he was saying, but I have an idea. Leaf seemed very happy to have picked Jing out of the air. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, right on Ascent, how many times did we see that Sage Hole up in main? It caught so many players off guard. And that's a bit more of an unusual one to see him play. Yeah. So fair play to Leaf for reacting after just a few shots coming this way. Paper X had a timeout here, discussing what they want to do, but this is a very, very light buy from them. Some Guardians in play, couple pistols. I expect a much more direct defensive side aggression to start this one off.
I feel like they've gone for a lot of early A control throughout this game, and it's not really been met by anything. It's a lot more passive from the side of G2, and obviously a lot of the goal is just to try and collect the orbs. I don't think they're going to be able to get the one on the B site, though, because G2 have been, again, very heavy on the B lean. A lot of the time when it's gone in the other direction, it's been lower purchases. They just have an incredibly clean B execute and post plant, and they are abusing it.
Look at how cautious G2 are being. Playing early, we saw on the A site, Paper X took the control for free, like you said, and they grabbed themselves an orb. But G2 do just the same. Now pump the brakes, stand in a firing squad, a little bit of danger on the push, but it's dealt with immediately. Forsaken, able to step up for one. Second shot not going to land, and 64 HP. He's out of here with the Sheriff. Rotation off the A site leaves Jing alone, but he is tucked down below. An uncouth position. One Leaf has to be cautious of, but he was watching it as the peak comes in. Now Jing tagged low. At least get himself a little bit of a heal and drop Leaf. Okay, this is not.
I don't think the heal played any part in that.
No, not at all. Got him back to 76 in the end, but they're set up in a decent position.
Yeah, both Hunter's Furies online now as well. Forsaken got it from getting that extra kill. If he can be disruptive here, that would be nice. The spot comes in from Something. Dizzy not going to play a part, and now there goes that Hunter's Fury from the flank. It's not really going to do too much, but the time is an issue. 15 seconds now for the side of G2 to try and make their way in towards the side. Up above, it seemed like Jing may not have been paying attention, didn't hear the sounds, and even though it comes super late in the round, they're going to get that plant.
This is not a comfortable anti-eco, but they've managed to make it work. 3 versus 1. Forsaken, known to be behind. He threw out a dart a moment ago. Had his Hunter's Fury. Nice shot to start it, but
wheel
jumped a little too soon. 6-4 now. G2, 2-round lead. Chance to extend it even more before the half is over.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to want to do that. We've seen them, like, not too long ago still have some struggles on this map, but it was normally the attack side when they played versus Lev that looked decent. So I think they're going to want to try and extend that to an 8-4 lead. And as I said, like Paper X on the attack, you've always got to be careful. But it has seemed that over the last few rounds, a lot of the early success they were having, the something Jing showed, those aggressive pushes, I think G2 have done well to adapt. Take a lot of early map control. You can even see it now, throwing early flashes. They want to try and make sure that there's no angle that something could just be sat on with an operator. And well, for now, he's back on the rifle. And again, it seems like every time we have the early aggression from Paper X, they're a little bit unlucky because they're always on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, they've pushed up on B this time, ready for any aggression out of G2, but players are going to be spotted outside of A. Maybe just the one scene, though. Not a ton of information to work with. They're conscious of the flank that's been coming through relatively consistently. The push up now on B. Well, the wall actually slows them down. That utility from Valen has bought them a few valuable seconds. It's got the rotations off of A as well. A is wide open, barring a little bit of killjoy utility. And now that they think there could be a play towards the B side, Divide toyed with the idea of pushing mid. Luckily he didn't, because Jonah P was waiting as always.
But also it would have taken as a alarm bot down if we went too far. So at least they'll get that extra little piece of information. Now have the players in at the right time. Something though, again, it seemed like he was caught off guard, maybe waiting for a slightly later push off the back of the Reckoning instead. Another easy post plant. Jonah P's just waiting, watching, knows that right now the flank is clear, even has support from Trent. It's going to be a very one-dimensional retake from Paper X.
He's heard the steps, but he knows that turret's still online. That's going to be a problem. Has to break it and give it away, but in comes the Hunter's Fury, taking down Forsaken. Divide falls too. They eventually deal with the flank they knew was coming, but there's still so many more to drop. There's Jing onto Icy. A chance now. Life breathed back into the side of Paper X, but look, right down below, a sneaky spot from Leaf that gets his third of the round. That may well be the final nail in the coffin of this. With Jing left alive, time ticking away, and he just has to save that weapon, run for the hills, and concede a 7th to G2. A strong lead for the attacking side, and it isn't over yet.
Yeah, and also even just the casualties are meaningless. There's so much economy left for G2 that they can toy with their opponents in the late round. But no, it has just been, I feel like there's been some stellar positioning from the side of G2 when it's needed most. Like we spoke about those lurks, but Leaf here just playing a patient game. Something that, to be honest, he was seen. So they knew that he was around there, but I guess assuming that he'd fallen back for the late round post plan.
Yeah.
And now, well, with the extra kills he got in that round, one away from a lockdown, something I'm sure they're going to want to try and get online. In fact, already challenging early for the orb, but I was going to say it's gone all right until the extra swing in. Valen again.
Doesn't need the orb either, does he? Leaf's got his ult online from that pick. Yeah, that looked really good. The staggering utility from G2 pushed Paper X back. They decided to stick around on the choke point, which is often a mistake, but they won the fight despite the util being thrown their way. But now the fact that Leaf got that pick, has the ultimate to work with, it's going to buy so much time. And then you've got to root these players out of position. Trent still has a shock dart to work with. I believe there's a nano on the spike alongside an alarm bot. This is going to be a very difficult round, as it has been for Paper X in all of these retakes. This one feels that little bit more stacked against them. Shock dart, the one to find the kill, and Device looking the wrong way into heavy traffic. 8-4. This has been a stellar first half from G2, and Paper X better hope their attack can make up the gap.
Yeah, no, I think there was a bit in the middle where we had some sort of good disruptive play coming out of the likes of Paper X, but G2 the last few rounds just stabilized, slowed things down, had these really good takes, so I think it's going to be a tough second half. We'll see if Paper X can turn it after the break.
Sama kayak konsol ya. Bisa main kayak konsol. Konsol juga gitu.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Bisa main kayak konsol. Ada. Tiap konsol pasti ada animasinya. Tiap game FPS di konsol ada animasinya. Tapi nggak tahu ya, nggak tahu tajam apa enggak. Ada beberapa game yang tajam. Gaming.
Welcome back. Well, if you weren't with us before the break, you missed 5 straight rounds from G2 on the attack. PaperX tried their best to disrupt, but it's them that have been left in the dirt. Now for G2, a defensive side start to the second half, and well, they've got quite a lead. A pistol here. It may just be into the home stretch. The pressure is on if you're a PaperX fan.
But it's dangerous as well because this is the map choice for PaperX. I don't think they'll feel too uncomfortable going into Lotus. Like, it's been a strong map for them recently. I think Jing's Neon is something that always enjoyable to watch, but ultimately you're not going to want to lose your own map choice at the beginning of the day. And I think they're going to have a very strong attack side. Now, they normally do. As I said, when they win this map, you're looking at, as I said, I think 10-2 attack half versus likes of DFM, even DRX, the prior time to last. And a lot of this comes off the back of the two players who just witnessed Jing and Jing and Something. A terrifying duo on the entry. But just look at already the aggressive stance that has been taken by G2 in mid.
Yeah, they're looking for the triple push off the back of the contact from Trent. And they're even hearing some of the steps that went around towards A main. Some information there. We'll see how quickly they get on that flank. The retake setup, though, certainly in play. You can see Leaf is just backing off, conceding this space. And in fact, the flank abandoned after breaking the turret. Now look to play this as a more conventional retake. Wall buys a little bit of time, and the plant should be in. Shock dart, though, for damage.
They have so much plant denial a lot of the time on the side of G2, but now it's going to be utilized for the retake. One man still hidden in the corner, and he strikes. Mind Freak with a couple. Jing steps up with another, and in fact, he gets two himself. Left onto Trent. You wouldn't want anyone else in a clutch, and although he's low, he's almost taken him down. The shock dart may even kill off Jing, but it doesn't matter. It will be a last-second shot that ends up giving PaperX a much-needed pistol round.
Well, that came very close. Travel time of that arrow, all that made the difference. But it's enough. PaperX take the pistol, and this is a much-needed win. An injection of rounds early on, at least if they can manage to convert in the follow-up that they needed to close the gap after that first half. 5 rounds in a row before this for G2. Finally, we see a stall out to that momentum.
Yeah, I think important that they get that job done for this one. Get themselves back into the map. It looks like the defensive side are almost trying to sell confusion here. They've got the Viper screen combining with the Harbor Wall. The thing is, it seems like PaperX, similarly to the last round, are just happy to play around their opponent's utility, like almost use it to their advantage. It's whether or not they can abuse the gaps more than their opponents can.
I mean, they've taken a big gamble. The turret is watching the back, but they're committing 5 players after making all this noise. The stack up is there from G2, but it doesn't seem to matter. They're being shredded on the site with one man behind the wall. Super full. It's Icy down and Leaf to do it all. See if he can find a 1v5 with a classic. No, what a surprise. 3 kills from Something. Big round for him, farming up some orbs, and a solid one without a single player falling from PaperX.
Yeah, and the thing is, they invested in with 4 rifles, so normally you're expecting, okay, maybe you can afford to lose a couple of players. In that case, they couldn't, but they kept it so ridiculously clean. Didn't really struggle at all. Orbs kind of spread across the board, which obviously it's nice in the future, but right now will be a little bit more frustrating. But then they brought back up with an Outlaw as well. Like, we see this quite often, having that lurking player just being able to hold down mid, watch anybody who's trying to push on the A site. For now, though, it's an important round for G2 because they lose this bonus, and it's a strong bonus. They're right back in the game. He's just full sprint. He's just okay, this W gaming. How could I forget?
Yeah, well, in case you needed a reminder, there it is. Man's lost his shift key. We'll see if he finds it soon. Running back down the tube. He's been hurt. Leaf has a vague idea. But look at the commitment from G2 to re-clearing out in kitchen. Player right down below him. And, well, I mean, something is just playing an unhinged style here. He gets shot in the back, but it's just a tickle. And that actually spurs him forward to look for another fight. Jonah P.
They're
all
in
around B while
They're
the A
so
side's taken.
focused on him. They're so focused looking at him that in the meantime, they've just walked into the site and planted the spike. Like, you can't blame them. When a guy is running around like a lunatic, you go, okay, I should keep an eye on him. And you need to still keep an eye on him. There was a pixel there that maybe he could find something. Even spotting players around mid, they should know that he's still here. But it seems like they're just relying on this wall, the turret. Is he going to get past it? He is. He's past the turret. And now just going in behind them. Only the one so far, but they have to deal with this man. The whole round has been about dealing with something.
They haven't even seen anyone else. Getting towards the spike, sure, but the guy's still behind them, spraying away. Now the fight up in front. Okay, something falls, so does Divide, but Spike not even half yet. The sprays are good. Mind Freak gets another and a triple. Close it out. All eyes were on something, but it's Mind Freak that pulls off the magic.
Gila Bang Aron.
Yeah, a Red Bull clutch.
Dingin.
Impact for sure. But it is just, again, one of those rounds that you're going to look back on and go, well, they didn't forget about him, but it was like you forgot who he was, like what he was going to be doing. There was so many moments in that round where you just think, even though something he doesn't get like the triple kill, he doesn't get the multi-frag, there was so little time left that it almost just became a station for the rest of the team because they're so focused on killing one guy. And of course you are, it's the solo jet running down mid. Well, you're not going to expect him to be alone.
I haven't seen someone play like that in a long time outside of ranked. Hello, early fight. Valon's not going to get anything, but Divide goes down. Early flank underway. Turret's much more passive, so Leaf will get pretty close. Not close enough to actually take anyone down. He could. Oh, of course. Divide's the one that fell right away. So yeah, he's able to make it all the way up, making it into heaven, grabbing himself a weapon, and now a serious danger down below. He's got something. The res is right above it. Spray for Leaf. A phenomenal round, and he's looking for more. Mind Freak has to do it again. This time a 4K against pistols, but he's 30 HP.
Oh, we talk about forgetting about something. I think they forgot the turret was down. He got so much space. Mind Freak might get an isolated 1v1, but now the Sheriffs, well, we normally talk about hitting a headshot. They definitely don't need that. Body shot will do the job. He's trying to sell the idea that he's pushing into the A site, but that idea has not been sold whatsoever. And while Jonah P's going to hit the headshot anyway, the MasterCard Thrifty will be what brings a round onto the board for G2. And well, it's a massive oversight for Paper X.
Oh, huge. The fact that Divide's first to die is unfortunate, like you said, dropping the turret, his position, given a free weapon down below. The fact that the res goes in up top, just as something dies, they panic to try and cover Divide so he doesn't die a second time, and that ends up giving a flurry of frags over the Leaf. Now 15 and 11. And one away from a lockdown. G2 have a lot of high-value ultimates coming online. Same can be said for Paper X here on the attack, though. This is where everything's going to be decided, 9-7. The gap either going to close or be extended massively by G2 here. Credits down to the last for Paper X.
Yeah, it's done a lot of damage. The only thing that's going to pad the gap is the Viper's pit. By having a Stinger in a pit, absolutely fine. So they need to get into the afterplan. Look how quick G2 are already moving around that flank. They're in the spawn already. But by the time they get there, the post plant will be set. This time, turret should be available to give them the information. In fact, Forsaken is already watching, but he has Hunter's Fury. Oh, it's actually got past him, but the flash checks him anyway.
Reckoning going to clear a lot of space here as well. Give away that information. They know exactly where something is. He's stunned up, gunned up. Leaf able for one. Keeping it competitive. G2 3 versus 2. Having to fight through the pit, though, could be the advantage they need. In goes the Thrash, and Mind Freak can't quite dodge it. They know exactly where he is. The pressure is on Jing. He has to cover this man to keep the pit online, to keep the chances there for Paper X, and he'll get nothing. Bar the one. G2 now double digits on the board. Pit invested for Paper X, and credits are going to be, well, out of reach for a full buy.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be an ideal scenario. Don't think that's quite... Not sure it works like that.
That's how the finisher goes, but
Oh yeah, no, beautiful retake, but also the read initially. Like, the flank came through so fast that, although I was a little bit worried, this is the thing that's great about G2 is they're so methodical. They put the Reckoning through and I go, okay, there's a gap. And that gap is where Forsaken is. Flash, just around the corner, just to make sure. It's so clean with making sure that there isn't those gaps left. And while put them into a great position. Still though, Blade Storm, something, mentioned it in the first half. We know what this guy can do with it. Already going to take a lot of early space. They also have the Hunter's Fury as well, so if this can get into the late round, it could get dangerous, but that lockdown's available for the other side.
PaperX are so fast. Usually that drone will slow you down a bit, but they just sprint straight at it, taking control over the site, and that gets the lockdown into play. Shock darts to harass the planter, and they're back out of there. Flank was attempted for a moment. G2, though, seemed to have fallen back. Maybe assuming that the lockdown's going to send them in the other direction, but they might not know PaperX. This is a team that isn't keen to give up on the A game. Still looking for, well, the A side.
And now that flank starts to adjust again. Clearing in middle, getting all the information. The plant is going to be enabled, and something is desperately looking for someone to give them a fight, because the weaponry's such a huge disadvantage for the rest of the team. Devi at least has a gun, but everything else is going to be those stingers. He just wants to try and get something out of it revealed, but does have support.
Well, that flash sends all the support backwards. Jing's caught, still blinded up. Hunter's Fury goes through, though. Forsaken able to trade out onto Icy. Gat gets the push out of Devi. Back and forth, the kills go, but it's still G2 with the advantage. If they catch Mind Freak for free, it could be something, but he's fragging out, gliding Leaf down. The defuse already halfway. He's sticking it all the way, and Forsaken and a sliver of health gets it across the line with plenty of time left. It's 11-7. The lead for G2 cemented, and they're in the home stretch now.
He's never going to get to use it. He's trying so hard to do the finisher, but never quite gets it done. Boy, he's so low on the time, but this must have been just the biggest jump scare ever. 20 HP. It wasn't far away for Forsaken. Well, Alex, and he needs to breathe, needs to get the frustration out, because he's about to talk to the boys. That's what he always says. He's like, I get the frustration out, then I talk to them in a calm manner. Well, they've lost 3 rounds in a row. They're 2 away from losing their own map choice. And he's got to try and come up with something here, because there's been quite a few of these rounds, Mitch, where they haven't been far away. It's just right at the last moment, there's like a really solid flash or some great utility. I think every ultimate that's been used by G2 has been high impact. So I just think they're utilizing what they have slightly better, and I think a lot of that especially comes down to that Gatau. I think Icy has been incredible. Like, his flashes have ruined so many players over on the PaperX side. Like, even just think about the beginning of the last retake. I think 3 people were blind by that first flash.
Yeah, you know, I expect to be looking at players like Valorant coming in. Even Leaf, we've seen it in his heyday, but Icy really impressed me in that first half as well. He was putting up numbers, winning out his fights, his supportive utilities being up there as well. And on the side of PaperX, like you say, they've been close, and that's the most frustrating part about it. Having it within your grasp and then feeling it slip away with a 4-round gap. It's now or never. They've got to step it up. And no ultimates online. A res and a lockdown just went away, but G2 come in with the advantage. They have not only the Viper's Pit, but a Hunter's Fury as well. And those ults have been finding impact.
Yeah, as said, I think most of, if not all, their ultimates have been super high impact whenever they've put them into play. And well, immediately, you're going to see that Viper's Pit. Try and funnel them in a different direction. Drone yet to be put into play for Forsaken. It also has the dart, so they could opt to try and fight him, but there's always a massive gamble, especially with the position that Jonah P is playing.
I also love the super deep alarm bot that they put in. The shock darts went through to try and deny that utility, assuming that you would be playing that little bit more passive. That it'd be around the choke point, but instead it's further up, just covering Jonah P's left side, if you think about it that way, and he can cover the right. A really nice setup. It's going to leave him in a very favorable fight either way. And if someone touches the alarm bot, Nano goes up, and Jonah can just fall back a little bit and play more passive.
Feels like they're doing exactly what G2 want them to do.
Yeah.
They're fighting for mid control just to make sure they can't split back towards the B site. You got the Hunter's Fury for an attempted plant denial, or to even clear something out on the retake. PaperX are doing what they want, but it's whether or not, as always, this team can make it work anyway. It's going to be something looking for those aggressive fights, but I feel like G2 haven't given any of them away. They've been so good at making sure that doesn't happen, and already there's the man advantage.
Anjir lah.
Almost extended on. That shot just swinging
Flank
through
on as
players,
well.
but with Mind Freak down, yeah. Flank is now wide open. PaperX don't have any ground to fall back to. They have to fight forward. That's exactly what they're going to try to do. Something in Forsaken, the sprays just avoided. Then G2 go on the push. Forsaken good for one, but Device fallen. The trades are there. Forsaken keeping it alive on the site, but he can't do much from that corner. And the spray, close as it was to a collat, it won't get it done. 12 rounds on the board for G2. 5 chances to close this one out. Lotus up next, and Bind if they need to go all the way. That's a really good safety net for them.
Yeah, but again, you're going into your map choice, and with the preparation that's clearly there for G2. As I said, this round, it looks like they orchestrated it. It literally looked like they handed them a script and said, this is what you're going to do, and PaperX went, yeah, all right.
But he even fired a shock dart for default, immediately popped the ult, and then fired it through so it covers as they run away from the shock. So no matter what, you're taking the damage.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
And that was all really the goal was. Get an opener, play the retake. They've had such stellar retakes and post plants. 3 retakes in a row now for G2, and they haven't, other than the one with the classic,
Yep.
they haven't had too many problems. Here we go, though. The battle for B. I think the expectation was after the A hits, it's going to eventually fall back in this direction. Valen is in a great spot, if not cleared. He's not been cleared. It's a bit of a mistake, and now he gets to just pounce on the remaining players. Even still, PaperX are keeping this one close, and the Res actually puts it in their favor.
Yeah, I like the Valen's just falling back, giving up that space. He'll use his wall to hopefully slow them down. Time won't be bought for the flank. Leaf still alive. Device still alive, pardon. You got the turret up. Leaf wants to flank, but he'll be giving away that information soon. Lockdown in play, gets them the space on the site. Advantage there, damage done to Valen. This seems to certainly be a favored round for PaperX, perhaps the start of the comeback. Shock dart's good for some damage. A few of these players now lit up.
Ooh, okay,
Flank, bro,
one
flank.
for Leaf,
Nice.
but again, no chance with the trade. Jin gonna heal himself back up, and leaves just a couple standing. Valen
Nice.
trying to bait them in, but they've put him into a tunnel.
Nice.
And it is a solid round. Forsaken with 3, and PaperX, well, they need 4 more.
4 in a row. It's doable. We saw G2 close out the half in just the same fashion. They can hit their stride. But for G2, the other thing is, you take a look at those credits. They're starting to run a little dry. This squad does have Reckoning to work with. No other ultimates close to being online. It looks like a light buy based around the Outlaw. Big fan of this kind of setup. Question is where it's going to be used. And for Leaf, it seems to be a middle peak. He'll have his turret covering it. And they are moving towards him. We'll see if that Outlaw can have the impact. We hear the shots fire, but they don't find their mark.
Nope, not going to be anything. And it's the same again.
Whoa.
Okay, nice shot.
Jonah.
Someone's been doing their aim training, that's for sure.
Anjir,
Oh, no,
apa ini,
it's
bro?
not looking good. Oh, not like this. This would be the worst way to let a map slip away. In fact, it's even...
What?
It's
It's a
just,
misclick.
Is he just
Aduh.
fat-fingered
He's misclicked it. He meant to
fat-fingered
drone.
Oh, that's just...
Oh,
it's
they've
gone
not seen
horrifically.
that.
But Mind Freak just comes out with 3 in a second.
Pikiran buruk,
This
pikiran
round
buruk,
was
pikiran
looking like
buruk.
it was falling apart, but maybe in the most uncharacteristic
Aduh.
way, they might take it anyway. Flank coming in. That's the major danger. And now it's left all onto Jing. It's not been a great round. And now he's under real pressure. The spike going to take some serious damage. And he's, I think he's just got lost in the source. Leaf is going to be there to close out the round. Around the PaperX are definitely going to want to forget.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a hard one to forget, though. We'll be talking about that for a while. And MasterCard Thrifty closing out the map 13-8, and G2, they look very strong. That was PaperX's map pick, and they had them outclassed, outthought every step of the way. Now we look forward to Lotus, forward to Bind, and think, will they have a chance? Well, we're going to find out after the break.
Ente, bang. Ya, nonton yang lain dulu.
Ih, gua nggak mulet. Lu mau lihat lagi nih mulet-mulet dajjal ini. Udah gila, orang gila mana yang mulet?
Terlalu banyak hal gila yang
Aduh Tuhan Yesus. Aduh please banget lah ini mah atau ya Allah Bapak.
di balik kepanikan itu kan.
Nonton Tuan Buat kan?
Yeah, okay.
Also, when I initially was like, oh, I think G2 might win this map, it's because of the.
这个3 minute break. And noping out of here. I will be back. I'm going to go take a walk outside my room and. Yeah, cool. Okay. Still one from China, 2 from Pacific.
Okay, so a total of 8?
Wait, should be 10.
Oh,
It should be 10.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it.
Yeah,
No, it should be 2 Pacific. It's usually 2 Pacific. No, I have no idea. I don't
Let's see.
remember.
Yeah, it sounds confusing because it's like 2, 3, 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you guys are qualified at this point, or is it still
I think
not locked?
basically we have to just make it out of groups because we won both, and that's pretty much it. Like pretty much we're secured, but
But not-
never say never.
Yeah, yeah, it's like 80% ish. I gotcha.
I'm not here to jinx us.
No, Jinx here.
Wait, so we just have to make it not last place, right?
Yeah, basically.
Fuck. No pressure.
A VCT stage and the
I'm not
battle.
even sure it's
So
possible.
What is different about Paper X
Nah,
this
you
time
guys got
around?
this.
I think fundamentally, they got a lot better in the discipline department. I feel like they were a little bit
He's
sloppy
always
when we first
speaking
played them,
so
and we
soft.
abused that fact.
Yeah.
Now I can see a lot more coordinated play. I can see the logic in their how they're like
Sure.
moving us around. So we were expecting a tougher paper.
Josh
than we
RT,
got it,
man.
right? And
He's
like,
come a long
sure
way as
enough, like,
well.
we've been working on our icebox, so like yeah, the score was as such, but I thought it was a much better Paper X.
Well, that score definitely, that map went to you guys, so we're gonna see if G2 can manage to close out Lotus as well.
How has G2 gotten so good with Icy? Well, like we were saying earlier, like they've been good.
Kilios is in his feels right now. He's just having
Don't worry, if you guys want to know my shit
having a
schedule, I'll
day.
let you know when I
Aren't you there,
shit.
buddy? You want to talk about it? You wanna
Not anytime
discuss
soon
things?
though. I
What a
don't
roller
well,
coaster of a game.
eat healthy food, so
So
yeah.
jazzed up, so
Nothing happens every day.
entertaining, so exciting. Yeah,
One
man.
thing.
it's
You're
scaring
so
me,
damn
Seth.
frustrating at the same time.
What am I even talking about?
Look, I mean, we knew that this was going to be a tough game, you know, for both teams, right?
need to
And I
know
think you heard
why.
even Coach Josh RT saying how, you know, he knew that they were prepped, they were ready to go. But G2, man, that coordination, Mimi, has just been
no, my water
so
bottle.
freaking good from them.
Yeah, they look incredibly clean with this Harbor
There we go.
comp. I think on the attack side, obviously, we know it's really good for executes, putting up that wall, fighting deep off of it. But I
D2
really
was
like some of the
8-10
walls
in-
Valen was even using
Lost.
in the post fight. You see this one here to stop the players from pushing through and
but-
fighting past this lockdown. Then they switch on over to the defensive side, and I think it was
Yeah, I
just
thought
as
when-
good with some
I really thought
fantastic
when we won
retake
bonus,
protocols.
we'd be
It is
Gucci.
clear what
Ever
Josh
since-
is saying
after
about
we
putting
won
in the
bonus, we
work
won
on
like
this
what, one
map,
round
'cause,
after?
they looked
Then-
clean fundamentally.
Yeah, they
Was
truly
Jover?
did, and Valen very impressive on
Like,
that
we were
Harbor
7,
there.
I don't know what, and then we
just,
went to
again,
8-12.
This G2 lineup, man. Every single time you think that maybe they're going to be a little bit weaker, maybe they're not going to be playing up to the caliber that we would expect them to, but then they shut up all the doubters every single time, and it's so freaking cool to see them do this.
Yeah, I mean, this could just be, you know, just. I think this is going to be the proving grounds for
If
it.
you-
It's
no,
proved to
no.
be one of those teams that
I'm
just
okay.
gets to
I'm not
international
tired.
and then just
my
locks
throat
in.
is just
Says,
dead.
okay, right, now we're in this mindset. Now
I mean,
we're
if
in
you
this
think
grind
about
set,
it,
and we're just going to go
I
ahead
played
and
Valorant
run
on
away with
stream
this
for
tournament.
35
For sure,
hours
and for
before,
all
and
the
it was just
credit
still
Josh is
cute. It was
getting
like
for
no
Paper X to
sub
make some
shit
improvements,
ton,
I think
whatever
we did
ton,
still
right?
see some
What's 30? No, wait, it was,
in that
sorry,
game.
it's 20 something
going off.
hours.
I think Jing had a couple
35
rounds where
was
he was kind
last
of
few
taking
years
some
ago.
individual swings, taking
The
some
most recent
liberties,
one
and I
was
think G2
20
is
something.
always going to be good to punish that, and those small mistakes will really snowball in a match that should be as close as this one.
Yeah, well,
Still
look,
okay.
while the day may not
19
have
hours
belonged,
is
for at
still
least
okay.
for map 1 for PaperX, so they do
I
get
still
the
have a lot to
Verizon
reset my
high-speed
body
moment
clock.
courtesy of Mind
Posted
Freak's
till-
clutch
yeah, of course.
in round 15. Mind Freak, again, every single time we get an opportunity to see this guy do his thing, always impressive.
And I mean, it wasn't just Mind Freak in this round. It was this like crazy disruptive idea
Oh,
with
that's true,
something
yeah.
like solo faking in mid set.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I mean, there
21,
was
okay.
again, there were some good ideas, and I think you can see some of those improvements
Oh my
coming
God, the
through.
fast forward,
The
what
attempts
is
here
this?
at that backstab, getting ready to come in, something able
Yeah,
to
this
try
round
and
was crazy.
skirt around that turret, be able to dodge that out, and then suddenly it's like,
Thank you,
okay, we think that we're
Valorant.
protected, we think that we're safe. He
Okay.
strikes, can't quite find that second kill as instantly.
I hope nobody expecting me to like just what stand up and start dancing or some shit. I don't have energy for that, okay?
There was a lot of displays in this icebox of Mind Freak being that stone
Did he
cold
change
killer,
that
being
slow-mo?
that clutch machine. You saw him.
I
trying
feel
to
like
hang on.
their
I mean,
slow-mo used to look a lot different.
Was, you know, trying to bail them out and keep them afloat in this
For
one.
sure.
This was a very good game overall from the side of Mind Freak, but there was still too many errors
That's optional,
being
no, that's-
shown here that just ended
no.
up unraveling things for PaperX.
In that round, though, I think we saw the biggest difference from the G2 that played today and that guard team who lost to them all the way back in Iceland. The round state kind of exploded there. I mean, something broke the turret. He was running around in mid. He was causing so much disruption. But G2 still had really good ideas to deal with it. They re-cleared their space in mid. They still set up for a clean retake. And they did end up losing to the clutch. But I think they've gotten so much better as a team at dealing with those unexpected round states and adapting on the fly, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing when you're playing against PaperX.
Oh, couldn't agree more on that one. All right, well, things are interesting in the PaperX camp right now, so let's go ahead and hear from Coach Alex, hear what he has to say as they get ready for that too.
I'm here right now with Alex of PaperX. Alex, that was a really frustrating first map. What do you think the team was lacking on Icebox that you hope will be remedied or fixed on map number 2?
Yeah, we had a game plan going in, but we didn't really follow it on our attack side, so that's a little bit disappointing. And I hope that on game 2 we will, I think, calm ourselves down a little bit and step it up.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time, and we're going to see if PaperX can take Lotus from G2.
Pressure, of course, is on, and you hear Coach Alex talking about keeping those nerves, keeping the team
Oh my
calm.
God, Elden
They're
Ring,
gonna need to do that,
bruh.
'cause they're gonna be
I keep forgetting that I'm supposed to play that game, bro. Can I? What you gonna do this game, you know?
G2, Lotus coming up next.
I just
G2's
go
pick,
MIA for
and I'm
like
curious to
one
see
whole
what we're
year.
gonna
I
get
come back
really
next year.
from both squads out of this
Do
one,
that,
without
man.
a doubt.
I mean, I'm curious
good,
if
bro.
there's any pivots in the composition for the side of PaperX. I think that widely their Lotus has looked very good. Yes, last time they played against G2 over in Shanghai, this was that first map
Bro, I'm
picked
so
up for
comfy,
the
you have
side
no
of
clue, bro.
G2. That was really started to come through for Valen. So I'm curious if they're going to have something different to throw at them, a bit of a curveball, change that composition, maybe reintroducing something like, you know, the Killjoy into the mix here, or if it is just going to be straight up, you know, something back here on that jet, as well as Raze there for Jing.
Yeah, for context, when we've seen this PaperX team play on Lotus before, they're playing no Sentinel on this map, a double duelist comp with the Neon and the Jet in the mix, which is extremely unusual here, especially when you contrast them with G2, who plays the basic Fnatic comp, but I think plays it really well. They're the best defensive team in VCT Americas, and I think that's really where they shine here. Their retake protocols in particular, and how they're able to kind of adapt with when they're going for the more aggressive forward plays, and when they're falling back, playing a little bit more passive into those retakes.
I appreciate you pointing that out, because genuinely that Neon is not something that we've seen too much from the side of Jing, but it's been what he's been bringing to the table on Lotus as of late. So curious to see if he's going to be sticking with that, or if it's back to Old Faithful.
All right, well, let's find out if this one makes it to map 3, shall we? We're going to send it back over to your casters. Here's Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy, and our analyst desk. Yes, Tom, coming into this, Jing, right? He had an okay first map, but now we're going to look at him as having a fantastic one, assuming he's still playing that Neon.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he wasn't. I think it was a 28-14 performance last time he was on the Neon. I don't know if that will become the regular. But
DRX.
DRX, yeah, they're okay. They're kind of good at the map. But yeah, I think ultimately I'd be very surprised if either team makes mass changes. Like, I think it was a close defeat recently to Leviathan for G2 and a 3-map win streak for the side of PaperX. So I don't think, I would be very surprised if they were going to go, okay, we need to completely revolutionize everything we're doing within the composition. But ultimately, it's more so just some of the stuff we saw in the last map that I'm a little bit more worried about. Like, there were opportunities for the likes of Leaf to get into really awkward positions. As it was mentioned on the desk, they don't have themselves a Sentinel in the comp that they normally run. So there's going to be a lot of potential gaps to exploit. Last time they did have a Sentinel and that happened, so it really does worry me, especially on a map like Lotus, where there's a lot more avenues that you can sort of take that control, where you can be aggressive, where you can take space, or even just where you can rotate. And if those gaps are left, it could be very problematic. The only thing I will say is that when you're running a Jet Neon comp, a lot of the time you're going to be more direct. You're going to be more precise in the way you're doing it. So I guess the main thing will then be is, okay, do you leave someone behind just to make sure that that isn't going to be a problem for you? Or are you going to be so heavy hitting into those sites that it almost doesn't matter? Like, you've done it too quick.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the reality I expect for PaperX. But then, on the other hand, just looking at the last map, the fact that Jonah P was able to find so much space, the fact that in the second half, Leaf was able to get behind them so many times and cause problems, that's something that they almost don't have the option to slow it down unless you are committing that player to stay behind. And thinking about the fact that PaperX, we just heard from Alex down the stage, he said they weren't following their game plan. That's a worrying sign.
That's a really worrying sign.
You don't want to see that. And now bouncing off of a 13-8 on their own pick, they've got to move on to Lotus, somewhere that, yeah, they're not uncomfortable on. We've seen them do well, but the reality is there's a lot then to adjust behind the scenes for them to hit their stride here.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, well, I sort of walked past them having a little bit of a conversation backstage. As we said, no surprise, neither team is really going to be making those mass changes. And another comment you can make about the pacing of it is when you do drop that Viper, a lot of the time you're going to see, firstly, the amount of delay on the defense that a Viper can bring, in the retakes having, like, especially on the B side, being able to lock off certain angles, but then also just the takes towards A. It's going to have to be, again, much faster, much less reactive, and you're not going to be able to play with rotations anywhere near as much other than Jing just straight up running it down. But as you can see, they've got the decent win percentage on this one over the last stage. So I even though it is a choice of G2, and clearly they've come in with a game plan, knowing what they want to do, confident in their own map choice, it's still a very good map for PaperX. I don't think they're going to be too worried going into this one.
Yeah, one of the criticisms you heard, I think it was Mimi on the desk, who was saying that Jing was taking a couple of fights on his own, a couple of individual duels. And sure, a lot of the time, especially in the first half, he had something with him. There was always that duo system. You're not going to see that most likely this time around, because this whole composition is made to set the two of them up, to have them take the space together. And I think that solves some of the issues. For me, the difference in the last map, G2 were playing as a cohesive unit. They were a team, and it showed in every decision, in every moment, in how disciplined they were before the retakes, in clearing space. When you look at PaperX, we didn't see that same level. We saw them get caught off guard, and now I hope that won't be the same.
Think about the three-man B pushes that they were doing, where they were able to flank so fast into all of those A takes because of the control they had. That's more difficult to avoid when it comes to a map like Lotus when you're not running a Sentinel. Yeah. So it's definitely going to have to be something in the back of PaperX's mind that, okay, they're going to try and challenge us for space. Are they going to be making those like deep A pushes as we see so regularly? Are they going to have a sort of jump spotter on C that can give them that early information? And if they are, how do we shut that down? How do we make them play a little bit more scared? Because if you allow G2 to have all of that control on that defensive side, you're going to get blasted. I'll be honest. So you can't allow that to happen.
No, you really can't. For PaperX, the pressure is most certainly on. This map and the next need to go their way, and G2, well, they seem to be the more refined team, at least on the first map. We'll see if that changes as we're about to get into Lotus. G2's map pick, and they'll start this one out on the defense.
Yeah, I'm ready to get into this one. I think, especially for PaperX, after having that map sort of slip away from them, starting on the attack is going to be good. Like, having the ability to set the pace, and that pace is going to be high tempo. For now, though, it's more of a spot. Jonah P's just looking for information, but he's taking the head clean off the Vike. Not the man I expected to be going first, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, last map, we saw him go first, and it was a disastrous round, but at least finding a 4K. The A site taken by PaperX, at least they'll trade out the life of a man for the site control. Losing out on that Fade utility hasn't stopped them putting boots on the ground. But the retake from G2, quite quick. Paranoia is absolutely perfect. Something still gets away with one, and the nade is slowing them down. Nice disruption from PaperX to start this off.
Anjir! He's just taken over! 3 headshots already, that Sheriff in his hand. It's looking like it has aim lock, looking for a little bit more, but the trade backs are still good. It might be all on Jonah. Involved in the round, and finally he's down. But Leaf is there to pick up the pieces.
Cuma ngeri anjir aimnya.
Now I know what the P stands for.
Precision.
1-0
for G2, and my goodness, yeah, we talked about Leaf, we talked about Jonah P, more so in their ability to get behind you and find those free kills when you ain't looking, but it seems Jonah P's stepped it up a little bit. Look at this. Gorgeous first shot, and then these follow-ups are absolutely clinical. Even grabbing another to make it doable for Leaf in the end. Might have come close, down to 7 HP, but it's not close enough.
It's literally only because Leaf has shields. That's the difference maker. It's unfortunate because, yeah, a hero that saves them, because PaperX actually did very well, and they forced. They're going straight into the B site. They have got guns to play with, looking for those SMGs, and well, already speak about the pistols, but the trade from Trent gives them the advantage. He backs away.
Ini mainnya kok berada, mainnya kok kayak gini ya?
Control over Heaven, he's under pressure. Something already up close. They know that he's there, and the swing in from Leaf closes this one out. A double on the Stinger to put 2-0 on the board. Weapons upgraded as well. Same thing as last map. It's a decent follow-up round from PaperX, but they force bought. That's the real problem. Like round 2, that kind of damage, usually great, but now you haven't got the credits to capitalize on it.
Yeah, it means that likely into the next round they'll come in with a 4-buy with everything they could ever need. Like there won't be maybe like shields or something like you might normally see, but it also gives another round for economy to be built up. So you can see a slightly better buy than what they had in the last round for G2. I guess there's also just the thought process of it is PaperX. Maybe they do it again. Whoa, one of the only investments other than pistols is that Marshall.
They've still gone for the Sheriffs, though. You know, even though things haven't been going their way, PaperX are not going to lose their mojo. Still coming in, an opening pick towards the A site. Weapon on the floor. I actually think that was a Phantom, too, because there was a lot more upgrades than you might have thought in the last couple seconds before the barriers went up. Trent does well to manage the numbers of PaperX. The Prowlers cleared out a lot of close space. They'll get back towards the stairs, but they're conscious that someone could already be close.
He's kind of good with the Bulldog, you know? He's kind of good with it. Valorant.
All three.
It's not going to overface. Not really any need to. Icy already reclaiming a little bit of ground. Something does have the gun, but he's desperately low on health. Actually, it's Divine to go down behind him. That is...
Sees nade.
Troublesome position now. Something needing. Oh, maybe one of the craziest plays with how low he is. Having the rifle's not even that much of a hit, because a single bullet will leave him down in the dirt. Well, Mindfreak's done well.
Nice, Mindfreak.
Still hinging on something, and especially with Mindfreak going down. Once he finds the first, that's where things should stop. They haven't cleared him just yet, but, well, now he's being seen. Taken down, and the upgrade's just fine for G2. 3 players surviving. Phantom to be taken through to the next round. Some Bulldogs as well. At Bulldog, at Guardian. Perfect stuff. 3-0. Solid start for the defensive side. PaperX, they've certainly shown that they're willing to brawl and able. And that may stand to them in the next round, but not just here.
Yeah, the problem is, although they've kept the economy relatively honest, you're still going to have 5 rifles. You're still going to have enough to probably invest into the next round anyway. And you got a 3-0 start. So it really does just put them on the back foot almost immediately. I think if PaperX don't find a response here, this could very quickly get out of control.
Oh yeah, it could spiral. Trent, well, I liked his Bulldog. Let's see how much I like his Odin. Sat inside of tree, spam already, gonna light up Jing a little bit and slow down the rest of the squad and clearing out that space. Slowing down PaperX is something not a lot of players can do. It's just getting all the walls lit up, turning them into Swiss cheese, but PaperX have waited out the spams.
And in fact, they're going to fall back off it. Maybe just wanting to set up Mindfreak, but no, it's in fact just a ruse. No aggression on the other side. They've also baited out that they could have taken some tree control, and they are just going to full sprint their way towards the other side of the map. Now, it has been spotted. The deep turret gives Leaf the information, and they do have Nightfall to play with, so that's the other thing. It's possible that they're just going to look to play this as a retake, but instead, especially after the utility goes down, just going to fall back. I say that, still within the site, who hasn't been spotted again. It's Danger Man Jonah P.
Yeah. Sat in the smoke, waiting for it to fade. It's going to be a duel between himself and Jing, and it's Jonah P to win it, and double up! Devi's gone too! That should have been the trade. And instead, Forsaken has an impossible task. 4 players coming his way, and Nade used alongside a reveal. They know roughly where he is, and now the rest of the util comes in. The C's saved until they had the information. That's an absolutely gorgeous play. And a solid economy farming round for G2. 4-0 up, 4 players alive. Those credits are going to be sky high.
Yeah, PaperX got more done with the low buy. It really was. And again, you said it, the way that they save a lot of their utility, like what they did there was put the snake bite on the left. So if he does manage to dodge the C's, he's getting vulnerable and then the player swings. Or he gets hit by the C's and he has basically, I think it was 30 HP to try and fight versus the entirety of the team. They're so good at just putting their utility into the right place, playing really safe. Because we've seen so many teams lose crazy rounds to Forsaken. You've got to give the man his respect.
And one of the things that often slows down those rotations is what PaperX attempted. They moved quickly towards A, slowed down with the spams, waited, and then went up and opened the door. Like you said, they feigned that they couldn't beat and treat. But then once the door was closed, they just put a Prowler in on G2 and went, oh, no one's there. I think they might be going somewhere else. And at that point, Jonah P gets into position. He's ready for that hit, and he does not leave. The man plants his feet in the ground and says, I'm standing here. Takes down Arlong Park. 4-0 for G2, and a timeout for PaperX. They're already feeling the heat.
Yeah, understandably so. Like, you've lost your own map choice. Again, I think through fantastic retakes and adaptation from the side of G2 to deal with what was hyper-aggressive, fast-paced rounds. And now it looks like G2 have come into this one, knowing what they're coming up against. I don't think anybody expected PaperX to swap their comp on this one. And they look very comfortable. Right? Again, like you're seeing, whether it's the early rounds where they just seem to be so good at grouping up for the late round retakes and playing as a squad, or even just in that round where you had a surprise player that actually caught PaperX off guard, which was the whole idea when we talk about PaperX potentially winning this one, is can you beat them with the pacing? And as Mimi said on the desk, she thinks it's a great matchup for G2. Right now it is looking that way. There needs to be some sort of response. And while with how many rounds they've lost in a row, the loss bonus is there. Bladestorm available for something. Let's hope this is the start of something.
Trent opening the door? He's trying to spot how many players are outside. And now he hears the steps up close, so a little bit late. But that could have meant something. Still something to be afraid of on the side of PaperX. You can see them taking their time and closing the distance. They've heard the reload. They know there's another wave of spams about to go, and they think they've bypassed it, but there's still someone covering it on the walkthrough. They've seen that one man of something has already crossed. Nightfall to be used, but something's around the back. He's gotten closer than expected. Icy covering it from up top, though. Now they maintain their control, slow the push from PaperX, send them in the other direction, but Jonah P waiting as usual on a sliver of it.
Kecil terus Jonah ngeri anjir.
Divide, the last man standing. Another unbelievable round from G2. They barely break a sweat. Unless Divide can turn up the heat, and he doesn't know that there's a player sneaking right around behind him.
They've got the spike as well. It was irrelevant whether or not he managed to win the battle over on the A side with the spike being down on B, but yeah, Jonah today, it's just having one hell of a performance. We saw, like, he was pretty good in the last map, but this has been ridiculous. Like, being able to re-isolate each one of those jewels, it's just solid positioning. Dodges the initial utility, re-peeks back into the second player, and then just tries to catch a time. Like, he knows if he just allows him to swing, he's definitely dead.
Yep.
But that's got, it's got to be infuriating.
It's even the fact that he pulls back around the corner for a second. These players hit by Nightfall, running the other direction. They're thinking he's going to jump on the box. He's low HP. No, he just wide swings them again and again. Gorgeous play. And 5-0 for a reason. G2 are looking unbelievable. PaperX struggling to get even a round on the board just yet. A rifle for something and pistols to back them up. This is the kind of round where they have so far done the most damage. We'll see if that carries through and converts to a round win.
Itu darahnya udah segitu aja something.
The Nightfall overdrive. It's a pretty nasty combo.
Yep.
But then again, look at the position that Trent is playing in. Like, just consider that right now. He is literally just playing full retake. They've got the Viper's Pit down on one side. They know that in these moments, there you go. They've expected the Nightfall. That said, sometimes it really does look like PaperX are just reading from the hymn sheet of the opponents because they've used their ult. It's not really gained anything, and G2 are very happy to play the retake.
Yep. They were ready for this from the get-go. One flank position from Forsaken, though, that could catch them off guard. Look at that. He's got a nasty angle. He hears the steps, and Jonah P, a taste of his own medicine.
Nice.
Dropped from behind. A rifle to be recovered. Paper Rex with a stance to fight from. Jing's caught off. The finger gun's not doing the damage. They'll concede the space, let them down the stairs, and fight them on the site. But Leap wins that one too. Now looking for control over Tree. They'll find it for free. It's Vayne. They've got a fight, and the swing is good.
Ya Allah, ke-delete semua anjing.
It's another successful defensive side. Already guaranteed to be equal at the half, and I don't think G2 are going to slow down.
It's just how confident they're playing. As I said, like to just completely give up the site to Paper X, have that much faith in your ability to retake, but you kind of understand why. Like look, well, 4 of the 6 rounds they have on the board are off the back of retakes.
Anjir, Jingbot, gila yang komen.
Actually played out, but it wasn't even that close in the end. How much time they actually allowed them to set up. I think what, like 2.5 seconds still remaining. They are looking super comfortable. Again, we're going to see an investment, but using that Nightfall in the last round to very little effect. It was more the lack of information that gave them that sight. Operator in for something is an attempt at a change.
The thing is, though, that it's not like there's been big peaks coming out of G2. They're very happy to sit back and let Paper X push into them. Lockdown in play. Jonah P. Again, the positioning was perfect, but he positioned himself right in front of Device Spray.
Again, good isolation of the duel, but
Paper
X have managed to keep this one even. One of the better opportunities they've had. Now, it's going to split the defense quite a bit more. Showstopper is available for Icy. So again, if they wanted to, they could lead.
Kayaknya udah kebaca deh. Wih, strateginya udah kebaca kayaknya. Kayak kemarin Alter sama Boom. Reforcing kebaca banget gerakannya. Maksudnya mereka udah tahu pergerakannya kemana gitu.
If Leaf swings this and they get the kill, they will run back in the other direction. In fact, they're going to do it anyways. Something. Now moving through to re-clear this space. He hasn't gotten the peak he wanted. The patience of G2 is commendable, to say the least. The swing, yes, it works out. Icy's down, but the trade attempt is there. Down to the shorty, closing the distance. Something playing a crazy game. Upgraded to the rifle. Downgrade. Doubles it up. Keeps it doable for their side. And Trent, Mind Freak knows he's up close, but now the info goes both ways. The spray comes close.
Nice, bang!
For the double, the first round for Paper Rex at long last.
Yeah, I think again, a lot of it comes down to
Aaron.
being able to
Hari ini Aaron ini Jir.
and find the opener. Like something does well with the operator, and then just
Aaron
playing
pas
off of
master
that late round.
gitu.
Again, even
Digendong
just
Mas
the trade out
Aaron.
through the smoke was pretty big because we've seen such high impact rounds from Jonah.
Ini nge-whip anjir something.
This will get them onto the board. It's just whether or not they can now try to extend things. Luckily, they do save that operator, so that's still going to be in play for this next round. And they have themselves the null command, which will have value in reducing lead setup. Instead, though, the defense have got aggressive on both sides of the map.
Nice thing.
Usually talk about the push and the pull, but this was just a push. Paper X found themselves the pick.
Anjing, Jonah anjir, itu sama Jonah anjir.
Left for a retake. Nano's broken already, one activated. Will slow them down, section them off, but, actually, I love this. I adore this. A little bit of damage done. Jing and Forsaken now decently low, but the plant will come through. Paper X have some ground to fight from.
Trent's trying to sell the ruse.
What a here come the party,
he's been denied. Well, denied the ult, maybe not denied the kill.
Anjir.
Icy still going strong. Sees to the backside. We'll let them know that there's at least was no one there. And the rest of the team just looking to push together. It's all going to be on to one. And while Devi, try as he might, won't manage to get anything.
Yeah, they might have hit him with the knife, but he stopped the show himself. Gorgeous stuff from Icy. Really impressed by him in this series so far, and by G2 in general. We expect this to be a close one on a surface level. There was always the chance of a mismatch of styles or of Paper X. Look, like you pointed out earlier, Tom, on a downward trajectory in terms of international events. Last time they were at a champs, grand finals, top 2. Now, they're being challenged in the first round. It's not a good look, but it's a fantastic look for G2. Coming from the challengers section of Valorant, the heights they've reached already, unbelievable. They may just be about to 2-0 Paper X, certainly if it keeps going this way.
I even bit back before they made it into the VCT. There was conversations about could this team just beat them anyway.
Yeah.
I think that was answered fairly quick. Paperex again down to a shoddy by 3 pistols, a couple of guardians. We haven't quite seen those same hero plays that we've wanted to at least 1 or 2 on the previous map, but I guess Mindfreak's double is about the best we've had so far.
Yeah.
Now an attempt to just walk through. Well, that's going to be revealed.
Kenpachi itu.
Maybe not the gun grip.
Taicho.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Anjing. Anjing.
Made that work. Well, he's finally put down. Too little, too late.
Well,
nice.
Say that. Maybe don't count the Vi out just yet. 45 seconds. He's got himself a rifle now. His HP quite low. The chance for a big play. Paperex needs something. I think they'll take any chance they can get, but look at G2. We talked about the discipline. Good attempt by Divide. Baits out the first fight, knows there'll be a swing back sight because they've played enough rounds against G2. This isn't a squad that's going to send individual after individual to fight you. They group up, they play it together, and their reward is an 8-1 lead. Felt my heart skip a beat.
It's the moment of realization. I think he sees the little bit of like smoke from the dash and goes, wait, what? Oh! Still manages to get the kill. Had a little bit of support from his friends. 8-1. Whether you were a G2 or Paperex fan, I don't think you expected it to be this dominant. They have looked incredibly strong. As said, on the first map, Paperex were in it at a point, and then the adaptations came in. At this point, it seems like G2 have been ready from the get-go.
And G2 are adapting again, aggressive push-up on B. They hear that A main control, and they realize it's just going to be the same old playbook. They're taking control, taking tree, and fighting sight, and that early flank is catching them off. No one's ready for it. Look at Mindfreak, he's staring forward. Jing's just about spotted them, and he will manage to at least do damage, making it doable for Mindfreak, who's grabbed the double. But again, the trades keep swinging in the other direction. When it comes to players like Jonah P, I don't understand how he does it again and again. Divine now has it all to do. He's got the right gun for the job. Gonna try to brrr them out of this one, but it's gonna be difficult. Nice lineup. Good spam, but they're going right
Anjing di spam bareng
the same game. Diffuse already past half, and it's too far gone. The spray might be good for 1.
He jumped across and killed him.
Di jump shot, Jing.
9-1 on the board, Tom. This is a devastating start to map 2. And well, G2's map pick for a reason, I suppose.
Yeah, even still, like it's been a solid map for Paperex. They're just getting shut down. I said last time they played Jing, I think it was 28-14. He's 2-10. Like, he's not been in the game at all. I don't remember saying his name once. Like it really, and that never happens. That never happens. He's one of the best individually skilled players we have in Valorant, but right now it seems like individual skill doesn't matter. Whoever they face off against, they're getting destroyed. Like this is a pure team performance. The reads are impeccable. Like every time that Nightfall is online for Trent, he is out of the sight, and then he's going back in. And they are so happy to do that. We mentioned the flanks. I think this is the first time the flank has really been a big issue because they haven't needed to. They've had the read so often to get players in the right place, so they haven't needed to go around the flank. They throw it in here, and it does catch players. They also have fights from the broken door. Like, there's so much cohesion from this G2 roster, and that is the difference. Is it individual skill winning them all of these rounds? No. It is the cohesion between the players that they'll be supportive utility. Okay, Jonah P has won them a couple of rounds with straight BS.
Yep.
Like, just, like,
100%.
Unbelievable
100%. From
positioning and skill, but like, other than that, they're just outclassing.
Jonah pemain baru.
Like at this point, Tom, people been telling
me
Americans are so far ahead of EMEA.
Tahun lalu ininya.
This is their number 2. I mean, they're playing a damn clean game. I'm getting worried. I'm starting to sweat a little bit, and I don't think it's just the temperature here. G2.
Well, I'll also say, I feel like there's even an argument if they are the number 2 because of how close.
Their final, right?
Yeah.
It was OTs and
13, 15, 14, 16. Then they won 13, 9, and lost it.
Yep.
This team is
number 2 in a technicality.
Yeah, and after their performance at the last international, even less so. They have looked incredibly good.
But this is just every single round, man. It's just clean. The ideas, the executions. Nobody is greedy on this squad. Everyone's just playing it for the numbers to win the game, and that's all you can ask for.
Lain starts it off.
Oke, pas.
Will be a trade, but he's taken a lot of damage. A more direct approach this time from PaperX, but I'm going to sound like a broken record. These retakes of mid-stellar. Something's trying to get ahead of it. I really don't mind him pushing up, trying to fight more aggressively, and they haven't been able to hold. But again, an impactful double from Jonah P. He's left to fight this alone. Oh, it's a bit of a wide swing, but they will peak it together. Forsaken puts the second round onto the board with 3 kills. At least something. Maybe they can start looking at curses.
Now we're going to definitely hope that the 9-3 exists still.
165 kayaknya.
It used to be a big thing. Kalau nggak dua to bring it back. I'll need to find this round at least, and Tom,
maybe
so
Paper
far,
can do it. I've heard he's pretty good at rituals. I've seen him with the DRX jersey. He's not in the building, so he'll have to. I don't know. It means he can go out in the street and do it. In fact, that's what I want to see.
You want to see Paper Thin in the street doing a ritual?
Yes, that's what it is.
All right, we'll see if we can arrange that.
That's the content I desire.
All right, well, I think you might be the only one.
No
way he's going straight through it. There's no way. Jonah P's positioning has been unbelievable. Trent, I love you, man.
Okay, he got
gorgeous play. Yes, he did, but look at the position of Leaf at this point.
No, he's going to get revealed.
Okay, he's revealed. He's revealed. He has to break it. Now they know. Now the flash goes through. Gorgeous.
Flash.
Okay, there's the reaction from PaperX and the follow-up from Forsaken and Defy. Now they're hitting their stride.
All right,
it might be a little late in the half, but they've got the foundations laid. A pistol could bridge the gap, but they're going to need it.
Yeah, we finally saw some life in the squad, like reading what was going to be done by Jonah P. I think that's the first time that he's actually been caught. And then also Forsaken, last couple of rounds, really stepping up to the plate. It's a mountain to climb, but luckily there's a second half after the break.
Pakai HyperX, biasanya pakai Zoe.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Kalau Zoe
Zoe katanya jelek, banyak yang minta ganti.
Zoe itu collab-nya sama VCT Pacific kok.
A bad day to be a PaperX fan.
Oh iya, refresh-nya 240. Gelo refresh-nya 240 anjing. 210. They're cooking ini anjing apa ya?
They're just lucky to have.
Welcome back to half number 2 of map number 2.
Don't underestimate
the last of the series. G2 leading by 6 coming into the second half, Tom. And it has been a masterclass from this squad. Although PaperX started to wake up towards the end of that last half. See if they can carry through that momentum here.
But they have to. Again, this is a group where there's a lot of threats. Like EDG and Foot is the game that's going to be played later on, and if this is the level that we're getting, okay, maybe it has been an impressive level on the other side, but I do question whether or not we're going to sit there and go, can they beat either of the teams we'll see play later on?
Well, that's it. If they have a flat performance like this to start it out, but 2 rounds to close out the last half. It's a little injection of hope. The pistol round carries most of it on its back. If PaperX don't win this one,
pas masih ada monyet juga bagus loh.
It was just too far out of reach on Icebox for PaperX to come back into.
Bagus banget itu.
G2 didn't slow down. Barrier's about to go up. The challenge, not to lose 4 players to Jonah P's headshots.
You know what? He doesn't have a sheriff this time, so I'm not a believer. Already though.
Bang.
Yeah, see, it's not a sheriff. Not quite as controlled, aggressive from the defensive side. They've met them outside B and what? Just about ready to retreat. Keeps things even, but neither team is shying away from this. They want to
fight.
Come on, maybe I was wrong.
Ngapain, Jing? Ya
it's not going to be 4, you know, not possible. But it's still pretty good. Last man standing something.
They just like, I want to kill them all. Gitu.
Ngapain sih, Jing?
I believed in the post plants of G2 throughout the entirety of these series, and I don't think I'm gonna start not believe now.
No, I don't really care what the number is for Jonah P. He needs a
Ini kalau something bisa
he's
nge-squat sih,
putting in the
okay.
goddamn work at this point. Trent with a bulldog, Trent with an Odin, didn't matter.
Wah, nggak
I'm
bisa.
becoming a fan of this team very quickly.
He's just trying to get the whole team a raise. Is that the goal?
At this point, Tom, you disagree? It's been unbelievable, and although something grabs one, that is all she
the
wrote.
G2 manager's going, shut up, shut up.
10-3. Double digits found in the first round of the second half. G2 certainly seemed to be in the home stretch. We saw a force buy from PaperX on their attack. It didn't work. I'm not sure that we'll see it here, but
ini anjir kenapa dimajuin sih?
Almost just GG the game. Like you're not going to have that extra injection of having the plant, so it's not. And the last time out, it was one player standing and they got a plant. It wasn't even close. So you're basically just going to go in with sheriffs or stingers with no shields or light shields. It's just not worth it. So it is just going to have to be the hard eco. Jing, a solo sheriff. And although, yeah, if they do lose this round, it will be a massive jinx. The way that G2 have been playing, I would be gobsmacked if they lose this round.
absolutely. They have been so disciplined. The teams that lose these rounds tend to be much more loosey-goosey, taking risks. And you can see that on the side of PaperX, they're willing to group up and do a little exec play. All the util thrown outside of A at Rubble. All the dashes used, the space taken.
Ini 4 di situ ngapain, Jir?
Now they've got to go to the other side of the map, which is wide open. Typically, you'll have your Sentinel on this side when you go for those big gamble plays, at least getting you the information early. PaperX will struggle with that, as they don't have one.
Ya Allah.
They're just set up, watching for the door. Well, something. He's going to be met by Leaf. It's only a pistol player, so not the end of the world, but we'll garner him an extra orb at least. For the rest, yeah, they've dropped a couple of players. This really isn't bad. Where did that come from? Again, Forsaken. Giving them at least a lot. There's time for this.
Masih ada waktu aja cepet
They're
tapi.
going to have to move quickly, and they're desperately low. Valen, same pair of hands, but
Nice.
not this time. All right then.
Cukup.
Maybe the caster curse does exist because somehow they managed to win that round.
Unbelievable, 42 HP between them as well. MasterCard 3D pulled out of absolutely nowhere. Typically when we see those, there's at least a small bit of investment, but this really came out of the blue. Double digits for G2, sure, but that lead not extended on, and now the economy in a tough spot. Hey, of all the ways to start this half out, this may well end up being one of the best for PaperX, surprisingly.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it as something you should
Ini
attempt.
harus
That's a foolproof strategy, that's for sure.
It's funny
Meeting
as well because
strategi
the time
lagi
they
sih.
invested into round number 2
Good
was a
Alec.
force buy. It failed.
Ya masa yang tadi cok di
And the
tengah
time
anjir.
they didn't. They win with 2 players
Kayak
standing. It's the most PaperX thing on the planet. And here goes
Jing.
continuing that train of thought. He's looking
Nice.
to battle and brawl, maybe
Nice
get some
Aaron.
confidence back. He's definitely had a bit of a rough map so far, but I don't think anybody's doubting.
Ini Jonas sampai ngepas sih. Gak tahu lagi.
Yeah, that was his 3rd kill so far. Push up from something, good space taken. Turret not watching this angle, and it's left open for a moment. He has the timing. He has it perfectly.
Nice,
and he's
bang.
not greedy. Just taking the one and backing off, holding the position now. Trent and Icy, the last 2 standing. And it looks like PaperX have really found themselves a way back into this series. Back into this map, more importantly. 5th soon to come on the board with this firing squad waiting for them.
Nice, bang.
Nice and easy. Just leaving Trent, just a Sheriff. And if he wins this one, PaperX may just walk off the stage. 10-5. Halfway there.
Nice.
It's still a long road to go. And I think we know that getting back
Bisa,
into the
yuk,
finals is
comeback.
where the expectation changes. But I do
Habis
think
time
that
out
just
tadi
boost of
cari
confidence.
bagus.
Like winning a round like that gets everybody hyped up, gets the blood pumping. Also just proves, you know, we can take these rounds away from them. We can still get away with the stuff that we've been attempting and that has failed. I think Forsaken, a lot of the time, puts the world on his back when things are going bad. We saw that in Madrid as well, one of the craziest shotgun plays no, the craziest shotgun play I've ever seen. Question now is how far does that go?
Forsaken certainly not afraid. And you mentioned about the confidence. It's a big factor. Something certainly has it. Already going up aggressive on A. He's got backup. Prowler coming around, spotting a player close left, and he decides to back off. Yeah, this is a wise choice, knowing there could be a swing coming out from both directions. Can't see someone like Jing slow it down, even after a couple of bad rounds. Well, more than a couple. This Neon, he needs to be taking space, and he's done just that. Now they can start to rotate to the other side of the map. They'll be a little bit late, and Mindfreak seems to be just conceding the control.
Forsaken's knife not yet back online. He's put the fragment in, but it's only going to deny them the close corner. I think they're going to have to give this one up. Again, looking to play the retake. Plant. Not going to be denied just yet, as they wait patiently for everybody to arrive.
Taking a leaf out of G2's book. Paper X on the way in, and up he goes, but Jing not landing the shot. The trade is good nonetheless. He causes the chaos. Trent, though, manages the recovery, and Jonah P's there to help out. Forsaken, now the last man standing, misses the jump up top, or maybe he intended to stay below. He almost caught Trent off guard, but the reactions of this guy, unbelievable. Another triple for Trent, and 11 rounds now on the board. The home stretch well and truly in full swing for G2.
God, it's not like the other side where G2 can wait for their retakes and just everything falls into place. I don't mind the idea of the sort of the jump up from Jing, even if it's just the surprise factor of it. But again, whether it's Jonah, whether it's Trent, like just having these positions to just almost maneuver around. That seems to be what's just so impressive about every player on this squad is their positioning.
Yeah, Jonah
bagus banget Jonah. Financially, Paper X after the round, they won off pistols. Economically going to be good. That looked close, but no cigar.
Just a hair away, but it's enough. Paper X don't claim the early advantage. G2 stacked up and ready to blitz out of this choke point. If they go for it, they could be in trouble. You've got Jing and Mindfreak ready to exact vengeance on them. Instead, the spike is shifting towards the B side. A bit of a split with some going C where they know that there's an op. You have to imagine.
Something kena, dapat tuh something.
Push them off the angle. Indeed, it's going to be the Prowler sent through, and it's caught him up close. Got the op shot out. Now they've claimed the angle on the side of G2, but is the spike going towards B? I mean, Leaf's already taken the space. The door's open. Nightfall goes through. It's a confusing one for Paper X to read, and if they had an IGL, he'd be panicking.
Hey, bang!
Forsaken under pressure manages the one, but they need a little bit more, and it's something in Jing to deliver.
Leaves Valen alone. First goes his way. Now he can back out of there. Has the spike in his hand. They know exactly where he is, and something, well, a little bit too quick to allow him to get away. A 6th round onto the board for Paper X, a big one to win as well. It's going to put the economy of their opponents right on the back foot once again. And that is, again, the thing, just how disruptive this team can be. The rotations of Forsaken, selling the idea that, okay, he's gone down, Jing can now swing off the same position. And then this man at the back of the site, they give him anything, and he's not going to miss those shots. Still, a long way back. But these sort of back and forth rounds, well, at least winning one and then losing it straight back, is probably the best thing that could have happened for Paper X, because it means that financially, again, G2 are in trouble.
Op reposition this time, playing on the A side to allow Paper X to push up on C and take that space. Problem is they can't commit to so many players on Mound because they have to go back to clear B. That leaves Jing isolated when the fight comes down. G2 able to take that pick for free. And now well, the world's their oyster. They can take it where they want. Turret's still covering their back, but it's about to be out of range. Looks like commitment to the C site, and it certainly is. Straight through his Icy. Has Showstopper to use, but not anymore. Mindfreak keeping control over the back. He's lit down by the spams and has to be a bit more passive now. The rest of his team on the rotation.
Bawah lu anjing.
One further, but they don't know that the snake in the grass yet again, the Viper down below, is on his way, and he's just wrapping free. It could be an easy kill. He's gone into the smoke though. A moment of solace for Mindfreak, but he doesn't expect there to be a player there. Forsaken's blindsided, and Mindfreak low on the site will struggle to stop this plant.
He's trying his best. At least one comes up for Divine, and the time is ticking. This brings things back to, even. It's whether or not they want to try and use the Viper's pit, but it might make it tougher to pull. Another one for Mind Freak. Leaf tagged desperately low. It has to be Trent. It needs to be him to try and get something done. And what, 15 seconds left. Plenty of time to find. In fact, it's a man that started it all. Mind Freak with 3.
Reason to have this man's jersey at home, Tom. Phenomenal player. And a big round from him. Dodging the spams at first. His timing on the shrouded step was unbelievable. Forsaken was unfortunate to get caught blindsided as he walked back through. But the spams here, absolutely gorgeous. Not just taking down Valen, not just taking down Jonah P. I believe it was there. You see it in the kill feed. Leaf as well. 3 players going down through the wall.
The play cam there is quite funny. It looks like he's celebrating before he got the kill.
He's going to peek me. Watch this.
11-7. PaperX are on that road to recovery. Now, the ultimates weren't used by G2, so they still have them going into this round. Viper's Pit, Showstopper, but they built up on the other side as well. A matchup that, if PaperX can win, they really are getting to the point where they're back in the game. An immediate teleport. I was about to say, if he sticks that, that's a bold attempt. Instead, though, it was just used to give them the information. Nightfall used fairly early, but Jonah P's lurk caught by something.
Yeah, who could have guessed Jonah P would be lurking in this game? Seems something certainly hit the nail on the head. Now the steps are heard, leaving the B site, although, okay, the knife gets thrown through, so Forsaken knows there's someone outside B. He'll stick in position. C site, 3 players just outside it. They had success, 3 kills in the last round off just spamming the wall and denying the plant. Looks like they're not going for that this time. Instead, it's Jin running around the nade for Forsaken, and Jin steps right into it. Warming them up. And on 9 HP, Brave to use this ult through a smoke. And Leaf.
Dapat 2 anjing.
1v1 against the op. This round was looking done. It looked like it was already in the bag, and instead, there is going to be a challenge. The op not going to be the best for spamming through that wall. Something has to hope that he'll find an angle. Leaf knows once this ult goes off, he has time to get the plant in. He's going for it. Something's wild, spams, perhaps no. He's instead going to close the distance, keep the element of surprise up his sleeve, and try to isolate this man. Caught scoping in. It's a big danger!
Nice! Woo!
It's not over yet for PaperX.
Bang something!
They pushed up to 8.
Nice, Bang Ilya.
It feels like they pulled G2 into the mania that is PaperX. With battles and brawls, a 3v1 that Leaf almost manages to turn, but again, a safe pair of hands is something with that operator. Jing, though, just the fact he's playing. Again, we've seen this earlier in the tournament, just playing through the fragments.
Gitu tuh, babi.
Just couldn't quite get it done on the last. G2, after losing 5 of the last 6 rounds, are going to take themselves a pause. I think a necessary one as well, because we've said in the last map they were able to weather the storm. They were able to play up against PaperX's style with them taking aggressive mid-control, them running it down. They were playing it perfectly in those retakes, and in the post plants, they were sublime. PaperX have started to deny them getting those plants, and that's where it becomes a little bit more problematic.
Well, you're seeing the first timeout for G2. They haven't had to use any so far. Remember, this was, what, 9-3 at the halftime? An impressive, and the pistol went to G2. So a really impressive
This could have been
recovery.
over like 10 minutes ago.
In fact, with most teams, with most games, it would have been over.
Yeah.
But PaperX have started to find themselves a little bit. And with 3 rounds in between them, it is definitely the time for G2 to touch base with the coaching staff. This round, not likely to be the one that they win. They've got pistols. They're very light investing. No heavy shields whatsoever. A few ultimates online, but again, unless you see Jonah P headshot 3 people, or 2 maybe, you're not likely to see that showstopper pulled into effect, unless there's a big mistake from PaperX.
Yeah, same for his Viper's Pit as well. It's like you've got a stinger in case that eventuality comes about, but a lot more is needed. It's so aggressive. Already, immediately taking control towards that C site. It's left something alone. This could actually be the bigger problem for them. He's going to manage to dodge, but they're trying to pressure with a low buy, looking to get as close as they can. He's repositioned. Shots are missed. He's now somewhat stuck in the mud, and they're waiting for that rotation to come back in. Shots connecting.
Aduh, something kena anjing.
Not even needing that showstopper when he's got the pistol in hand.
Tadi
as well.
He was
biding his time on B, and there's no way they expect him to be here at this stage.
Dari
He's recovered a
IC
rifle, and it's the freest kill of his life with Jing down and out. What a way to push up to 12 from G2, a round that seemed like they wouldn't have a chance in. They had nothing but pistols for the most part, and here they are, just Divide, 1 against 4, a Viper's Pit to fight through. Icy, who's popping off everyone on rifles, bar Jonah P, who doesn't give a damn inside his pit, and a showstopper just for good measure. This is a disastrous outcome. It sure takes down 1, but that matters little to G2 right now. A 3K for Icy, a MasterCard Thrifty, and with that, 4 chances to take the series with a G2-0.
It's going to be the thorn in their side, a slip-up. And one that it's unfortunate, like you put your operator on one side, and I thought that was going to be the main problem of the round, but it's mainly just the fact that Icy's able to wrap back in, and then I think he spots, that's it, it's just the shrouded step. He sees just a tiny bit of information and is completely ready for anything.
Ini gimana nih, Bang?
12-8. Operator now gone as well. Can't be back on the board for PaperX in this round. It's been a huge part of what they have. Jing, he's gone as well.
And the showstopper's active, but Mind Freak's up top. No one was close enough to trade him out. Big swing from Divide as well. They'll double up on it. PaperX now with the advantage. They punish the early rubble control. The response seems to be to take it the other direction. The steps are heard as Valen moves up towards B-Main. They know that he's on his way here, and something is more than ready to execute him. But Valen starts to run back. Timing for something isn't great because the turret's still there. It's going to catch him and give the information. They know that push has come through, but it does get the rotation to the C site.
But that's the thing. If he doesn't peek that, it will have actually been a perfect stack up for them on the C site. Now G2 can call into question, okay, if he's pushed up, they know it's not B. They know the fake that we sold isn't going to be there. Forsaken under pressure, but he can't afford to give the game away here. And well, but now already they've lost 1. This is an awkward fight to take. He's just about going to make it around the corner.
Trent is so smart. He throws the reveal and then just swings it, knowing that they're probably going to go for the peak. Nightfall goes through on the back of that. Forsaken catches Valen, though. A huge kill. But with the Nightfall hitting, Trent takes his moment to go for the flank, moving around through heaven. Sees that it's clear. Now you know that the defender spawn is not where they're coming from. It refocuses Leaf. He's now looking towards the water, where he's already heard Mind Freak, TP across, waiting for the steps, and he's turned at the right moment, a free kill. Trent now has to do it all. He's pulled out multi-kills so many times in the past, and the first is his, but he's got to swing in and deny that defuse. Not this time. 12-9, 3 more chances for G2.
Yeah, again, it's going to be a break back immediately after we see that pistol round victory. You got yourself what was a nice attempt to turn back around. After the early battles, it was looking rough, especially with the information that something was able to get with such a deep position. But even still, once Leaf went down, the position for the retake or the clutch for Trent just wasn't a good one. From the depths of hell again, PaperX looked to rise. Economically, though, again, they're still almost fighting off the back of that pistol, and it's given them enough to purchase once more. And no surprise, we're seeing a push-up on A.
Yep, they've had success taking it. Mind Freak alongside Jing. Forsaken early knife for info on C. And the aggression from something successful, at least in the last round for the information.
Woo!
First fight doesn't go their way. Mound control given over to the side of G2. Orb to be taken. 2 away now from a lockdown, and the push-up on it.
Nice!
The slide in from Jing is gorgeous. Jonah P didn't stand a chance.
It's got to be infuriating. The amount of times he's been picked off by an operator pushing him. And now Jing sliding into position. The B site looks to be the point of contention. Smokes out, paranoia, utility, but there seems to be a point where they might look to just push through this.
Aduh!
I didn't expect that. Now Icy has managed to put down 2. It's not the play you expect to see with the Odin. And now Mind Freak's got the perfect combo. It's left onto the man who started this comeback. Forsaken, 1v4.
Devastating round. Let's see if he can do it. No, immediately shut down. G2 13-8 and 13-9. They were the better team here today, and the man on your screens, ice cold with it. This guy is unbelievable. His raise popped off, but you got to commend G2. They look like such a clean machine on the server. This is someone that I and anyone in this tournament should be scared to face.
Kan playoff-nya masih nanti, belum.
I think
Ini
coming
masih
into
group
this group,
stage.
there was a lot of doubt about who would be making it through, but I think most,
Enggak, ini masih group stage.
if not everyone,
Rock
should
masih
have
group
looked at
stage ini.
G2 as the favorites. This team has been on an upward
Nyari poin
trajectory
ini.
all the way through the year, ever since making it in.
Yeah.
The Paper X, hey, they woke up towards the end. We started to see the team that we wanted to see throughout the series, but it was just a little bit too late. And those individuals on the other side, the team cohesion, there was everyone needed to sort of fight versus the side of Paper X. And yeah, I think if you look at most teams, maybe you can think of, okay, this is their weakness, this is a weak link. For G2 right now, I'm stumped. It's up to their next opponent to try and work it out.
Yeah, someone's going to be losing sleep trying to answer that question, because this team doesn't seem to have a weakness when it comes down to players or approach. They just seem so far ahead. And I got to say, I am impressed by what I saw today, and every facet of it. Icy blew me away with some of his performances. Jonah P, that man, he needs to be studied. He needs to be studied. I want to know what he ate, what he did in the morning. What's his routine? I'm copying it once there's no walking involved. And Trent, look, here it is. Here it is with the pistols as well, the 4K that kicked it off. And this set the tone for the map, and I don't think the tone changed. There was a little moment.
I would say there was a decent moment.
Paper X picked it up at the end, but again,
they made it competitive.
Just too far behind, and that was our fear going into the second half.
For sure. No, I think the retakes were incredible. Made this team look like they shine. I think on both maps, but this map in particular, it was just ridiculous. Whether it was saving utility for the late round, just having it to combo a player out of position, or even just general cohesion and fundamentals from these players. Like, they are so in sync with each other, their positioning and where they take fights, like basically optimizing whether there's a risk there or not. It was at times the polar opposite of what we saw from Paper X, and as it was said on the desk, this is why they came into this and it looked like they would have a good matchup, because they can deal with the craziness, and that's difficult to do.
If we've seen our fair share of teams struggle